All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Saw some people posting some messages, but we are on and we are going to get this thing going today. So I appreciate everyone's time in attending today's webinar. We are recording it, so we will be sure to circulate this out after we get done so that you can reference it at any point down the road. So with that being said, my name is Liz Brown, and we're going to be going over how to use Google to defeat the OTAs and drive direct bookings. So for today's presentation, I'll share a little bit about myself, about RezStream, give you a breakdown of the difference between OTAs and direct bookings. Then we'll spend some time going through some of the specific Google products, including Google Ads, Google My Business, Google Hotel Free Booking Links, and Google Hotel Ads. Then we'll spend some time for a Q&A, and we'll recap major takeaways, and then we'll talk kind of next steps. So with that being said, my name is Liz Brown. I'm the VP of Customer Delivery. I've been with RezStream for a little over 11 years. I'm originally from the Midwest, so Illinois, but I've been out in Denver for the last 14 years. I recently celebrated my daughter turning 6 months old, so first time mom here, so very excited about it. And in my spare time, I enjoy taking walks and attending yoga sessions, reading books to my daughter, and of course, traveling to new places. For those of you that don't know about RezStream, we're a pretty small company. We have a little under 20 team members here. Most of us are out of Denver, and there's a picture of our office in the event that you were curious. We view ourselves as being really an extension of the property and kind of a resource to you. So with that being said, all of our team members here combined, we have 100 years of industry experience, and we provide a suite of solutions largely focused on independently owned properties. And it's just me kind of moderating today. So if you guys do have any questions throughout today's webinar, please feel free to post that in the chat. And then from there, I will make some time at the end of the webinar presentation to kind of go through and see what questions you guys have so I can do my best in getting those answered. If not, I will follow up after the presentation with you directly. All right, moving on. So let's go ahead and actually get into the actual education aspect of the webinar. I figured with today's topic, it would probably make the most sense for us to talk first and foremost about what the OTAs are, who they are, what they are, and then kind of dive into direct bookings just so that everyone has kind of a clear understanding before we actually go into some of the specific Google products that are out there for you to be able to take advantage of. So for those of you that are unaware, OTAs, that stands for online travel agents. So the online travel agencies essentially aggregate all properties in one easily accessible place where consumers can shop and buy. Choice, price, and convenience are among the top 3 reasons why travelers book their trips on an OTA. So as a result, these OTAs help properties boost occupancy and introduce them to new guests. So that's kind of the main takeaway there for you guys. How do you get, how do you fulfill any sort of need periods? How do you acquire new guests? The OTAs can certainly assist you in those areas. I would say for the US market, Expedia, Booking.com, and Airbnb are the most popular. You're probably listening to this saying, yes, yes, yes. So hopefully it's ringing a bell. But most OTAs make money by taking a commission for any reservation that they're referring to you. Those commissions can typically range anywhere from 3% to 25%, although 15% I would say is the standard commission rate. The actual commission rate that you get charged is negotiated, by brand, by property, through those OTAs in those individual contracts. So unfortunately, with being an independently owned property, a smaller property, unfortunately, there's not as much negotiation power. However, I definitely encourage properties to make sure that they're getting at least a 15% commission rate. If you can get anything lower than that, that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so then moving on. While the OTAs have kind of become this necessary evil, there's a few things that we would recommend kind of taking into account before you solidify that partnership, and just for you to kind of be mindful of. The first thing is that there's no guest contact information provided when those reservations are referred from those OTAs to your property. So when a visitor books an accommodation through an OTA, the property does not have full access to that guest information. This is because the guests are booking through a third party, which means the OTAs will have all of that information. And most of the time, the information that they're sharing with you directly is only the guest's name, the accommodation that they reserved, the dates that they reserved, and the actual price that they paid. So an email address, a phone number, those things that you can really use to market to those guests and then to encourage them to visit your property and visit your website directly the next time that they want that reservation to take place is pretty challenging. So just something to be mindful of. So another thing too is, given the fact that they're not giving you all of that information regarding the reservation, that could open the door for some poor kind of customer service experiences. So typically, depending on the change, typically the guests, anytime that they're making an adjustment to that reservation or they're canceling, they have to kind of go through that OTA versus being able to work directly with the property. So that's kind of the first major thing to be aware of. The second one is, you are one of many other properties. So all of your competition typically is right there with you. There's nothing really that the OTAs are doing to make you stand out differently than, say, some of the competitors in your neighborhood. The third thing here is OTAs bid on your brand name, taking away direct booking opportunities. We'll talk a little bit about this in regards to Google Ads, but OTAs are trying to find ways that they can drive as much website traffic and acquire as many reservations for their own business needs as possible. And so one of the things that they are doing is they're focusing on your property, your brand, and they're using that as a way of leveraging more business for themselves. And that specifically comes down to them targeting your brand name, your property name, with their own pay-per-click advertising efforts, which is taking away traffic that could potentially be going to your website. And the final major thing that I wanted to kind of bring to everyone's attention is that they ultimately are controlling your success on that OTA website based on their own algorithm and how they're choosing to rank those properties based on the different things that their potential customers are using. And then, of course, the contract and some of those specific contract details that are provided. So it's not uncommon for OTAs to act more competitively for bookings and to decrease the rates that they offer, which has an impact on the property's direct bookings. And I see that some people are having some questions regarding screens and sound. Hopefully everyone is good to go there. It looks like someone's having some sound breaking in and out. Does anybody else have any issues with sound breaking in and out? Okay. I'm wondering if that's just one-off issues, because I'm getting some feedback saying that no one else is having issues. So I'm going to carry on. Okay. So moving on, that was kind of the OTAs. So we're going to talk a little bit about direct bookings. And so anytime I'm talking about direct bookings, that's referring bookings coming through your own website. And so I'm going to refer to that as brand.com. So insert your brand name.com. It's your website. And we'll talk a little bit about direct bookings and what they are. So direct bookings reflects your property's direct channel. And this is definitely the most profitable when it comes to acquiring online reservations. So as kind of the search decision-making process becomes more complex, improving your property's online presence becomes even more critical in order to engage with more visitors and encouraging them to move down that direct online booking funnel as much as possible. However, having success in growing your direct bookings means building a strong brand that resonates with guests and promoting the perception that booking directly with your property delivers the best value for money. So Google now owns the travel consumer and has become kind of the shepherd of the digital customer journey by positioning itself at and making money from each of the five phases of the digital customer journey, including dreaming, planning, booking, experiencing, and sharing. So really, in order for you to achieve a strong digital identity, you really need to leverage Google's marketing products. And so this is kind of where we're going to be going into more detail on what are some of those Google products that can support you and your business in acquiring as many direct reservations as possible. So just something to kind of call out, because it's a pretty impressive stat, is, in this past year, 2021, Google saw over 3.5 billion searches per day. So, obviously this is a very high number, but it's actually one of the highest levels that they've had in the last 10 years. So in order for you to succeed in being able to reach new guests and to acquire as many direct reservations as possible, investing in your search presence is absolutely critical. So let's talk how you can go about doing that with some of these products and services that they provide. So the first one that we're going to talk about is Google My Business. So Google's Hotel Pack is the Google business offering for properties. It's the list of businesses that you probably have seen when you're doing a local search. And it's slightly above the organic search results section. So in order for you to get visibility, your property needs a Google My Business listing. Google invested heavily in search during the pandemic, resulting in updated Google My Business profiles, creating more opportunities for you as a property to communicate your value. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do is claim and verify your property's Google My Business listing. This is absolutely free. So before your business listing can display on Google Maps, search, and other Google services, you must claim and verify your account. So in order to do that, you're going to want to log in to your Google My Business account. If you don't have an account, you need to sign up. As I mentioned, it's for free. You're going to want to search for your business by your name or address, and then you're going to select your business. Once you've claimed your business, you'll receive a notification to verify the listing. Typically, verification is done by mail, by like a postcard, for example, with a code on it, or a phone. So then fill out the listing as much as possible. Some of the specific things that you're going to want to make sure that you're adding in there to encourage Google to show your listing and your business as a search result in this local pack, as I mentioned earlier, is selecting a primary category. You want to make sure this primary category truly reflects what your business is. So for example, if you're offering cabin rentals, the last thing you want to do is select a hotel as your primary category. It's not a good user experience. And then on top of that, you're not creating any trust with Google. So they're probably going to disregard your listing if they feel like it's providing a bad experience to their users and move on to another business as a ranking opportunity. The second thing that you're going to want to do is add in your local phone number. I make a point to say local because you do not want to use an 800 number. Anytime you have an opportunity to provide local information, local business details to acquire local search presence, you want to go with that first and foremost. So that's extremely important, and you want to make sure that you're adding your address, your physical location. From there, there is additional opportunities for you to add more information about the business, including your hours of operation, your website URL. Then there's a section called property attributes and details. This is where you can actually go in and provide specific amenity information or service information so that guests can get a really good feel for what all you have to offer. And keep in mind, anytime you're adding this information to your listing, not only are you offering this information up to a potential guest, but you're also giving Google more details about your business as a way to hopefully encourage them to show your business more often in search. So as much as you possibly can, take advantage of all of these different opportunities to fill out more details. You'll also want to make a point to go through and see if there's any questions that have been asked from potential customers about your business. So sometimes people have questions about certain amenities or availability in terms of like if you're a seasonal business. So you want to make sure that you're making a point to go through and identify if people have asked questions, and if they have asked questions and those are unanswered, make sure that you're answering those. You certainly want to add high quality photos and videos. So as much as you can, add in all of those images that you think truly reflect what that property and accommodation experience would be. There's lots of different categories depending on your business that you can kind of upload, whether it's interior, exterior, food shots, just to paint a picture to those potential guests. And then in the last, couple years, they added a section where you can kind of fill out health and safety and COVID-19 responder policy section so that people can feel really nice and safe, in understanding how you guys are handling that. You also want to encourage guests to leave reviews, since those carry a lot of weight in your local listings visibility. So if you're not already, having those conversations as guests are checking out, including links, to some of your top review sites, including your Google My Business listing, and that post-stay email is very, very important. So you want to make sure not only that you're getting all positive reviews as much as you possibly can, but you're getting those on a consistent basis so that there's nice, relevant information for those potential guests to look at, again, to get a good feel for what that experience could be. And lastly, you want to ensure that your listing has a lot of activity. So again, as much as you can, making a point to maybe once every couple of months, going in, identifying if there's been new questions asked, make a point to certainly respond to as many of the reviews as possible. You definitely want to prioritize responding to negative reviews within 24 hours, that you're adding images as much as you can when that makes sense to do so. And all those different things are positive signals to Google, which will lead to improved local rankings. All right, that was a whole lot of information that I just spit out about Google My Business. So let's go ahead and move on. All right, the next one that we're going to talk about is Google Ads. So to accelerate, your property's growth in the search engines, paid search is pretty key. It can deliver huge volumes of traffic, target highly qualified audiences, and provide quick, tangible results. So, really the importance of this channel cannot be underestimated. So Google Ads, which is Google's pay-per-click advertising platform, allows properties to bid on various keywords related to their business, so their website can kind of display at the very top of Google search results. You may have experienced this when you're on Google and you're doing your own searches. These ads have that little ad marker next to them, which you can see here in the screenshot. And anyone can bid on for these listings, including the OTAs, as I mentioned earlier. So in this example, somebody could be just doing a general search for Denver hotels. And you can see in this example, booking.com, Expedia.com, they clearly are trying to target people looking for Denver hotels, which is why their ads displayed here. But the same goes for any of their advertisers' property names. So if I typed in, for example, I saw Gail participate in today's webinar. If somebody, typed in Brynwood on the River in Google, they could easily, Expedia, booking.com, Airbnb, any of those OTAs that's in that property's channel mix would have the opportunity to show up in this ad section, even if it's them bidding on your brand name. So it's crazy, but that is available for them to be able to do. So it's just one of those things that we want to be cautious by, and maybe have conversations with your OTA account manager to see if there's any ways that maybe they can not do that. So with that being said, advertisers and advertisers meaning you, whoever is kind of managing the pay-per-click advertising campaign, can determine exactly how much that they're willing to pay for each click, given some of the different keywords that they want to show up for. And then these ads, once somebody clicks on that ad, that's when the property gets charged that small fee based on what they're feeling comfortable paying. And assuming it's nice and competitive for them to show up at the very top of Google search results, they then get directed, that user gets directed to a page on that property's website. So depending on your location's competitiveness, budgets typically start anywhere. I mean, you could go as low as $300 if you wanted to, all the way up to thousands of dollars, depending on exactly how much market share you're wanting to capture. You have full control over picking and choosing exactly what you're willing to spend, whether it's per keyword or just on a monthly basis. So typically clients are like, well, how much does it cost for me to do this? Well, you really can pick and choose however much money you're wanting to spend. But again, because you're having to compete for that real estate in Google, it really comes down to how competitive it is that you're wanting to be, and exactly some of those terms that you're wanting to target. How much do those typically cost? So that's where it is helpful to kind of talk to an expert who does this every day for a living, to be able to give you a really good feel for what would be a successful budget in terms of where you could start. And then from there, you can certainly kind of grow that budget depending on how that performance works out for you. So in order to get started, properties need to create a Google Ads account. I included a couple URLs in today's presentation so you guys know where to go to access some of this stuff. So this is where you would go to access Google Ads and kind of start creating that account and building out that campaign. So once you have that account set up, once you have those campaigns kind of get going, it can be pretty overwhelming. And not only just launching that campaign, but then you're also having to manage that campaign. So this is where, again, it's probably helpful to get some professional involved, ideally a professional that's certified in Google Ads, to run all of this for you. I know for us here at RedStream, we're in those accounts multiple times a week, making sure that everything is going according to plan. And if not, we're able to be proactive in optimizing those campaigns for success. So that is Google Ads. I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, so the next one, we are going to be talking about Google Hotel free booking links. So these last two slides are probably the newer products that you've heard a little bit about that Google has pushed out. So I'm hoping to do a really good job of, really educating all of you on what these two things are and also how they differ from one another. So Google Hotels allows guests to discover, compare, and book accommodations directly from Google. So Google Hotels is an example of what we refer to as a meta search engine. And that is where properties or OTAs have the ability to display rate and availability information to those potential guests. Why this is important for you as a property is because it allows you to compete against the OTAs in an effort to try to acquire more of those direct reservations. So this particular product of Google Hotels is called Free Booking Links. And so Free Booking Links is, guess, it's a free product that Google has offered where the property can, by doing so, of acquiring some of those direct reservations, can receive all the guest data to create more of those personal relationships with those customers instead of having to be completely dependent upon those OTAs and referring reservations their way. This program is tied to your Google My Business profile. So if you don't have a Google My Business profile, if you're unsure, this is where you need to start from scratch and going back to a couple slides ago and going through with a fine-tooth comb, making sure that you've claimed it and you've optimized it as much as you possibly can before you even entertain doing free booking links. So you need to set up that Google My Business in order to take advantage of the free booking links program. And so when a property utilizes this Google Hotel free booking links program, guests can see your property's rate and availability in Google Search, in Google Maps, and in Assistant. In order to take advantage of this, while you're not having to pay Google for any of those reservations that they're referring to you, you do need to have a PMS provider that has this integration in place. So RezStream offers the free booking links integration at no cost, specifically to our RezStream Cloud PMS professional users. So once you have that in place, if you are a RezStream Cloud PMS professional user, chances are you already are leveraging this program. And then once that connection is set up between the PMS and Google, then all of your direct rate and availability information is displaying, which means you're not having to manage a separate channel like you would with an OTA. And there's no advertising budget involved. So you're not having to pay anything additional to start showing up in Google Hotels, specifically in this real estate section that I've highlighted here under that property's all options section. Okay, we'll probably circle back with some questions on this one, but this is the best place to start before you move on to the next one that I'm about to talk about. You want to make sure you have this in place, that you're taking advantage of this before you think about doing Google Hotel ads. So Google Hotel ads is more or less a way for you to kind of increase your property's online presence in Google Hotels. Or if you're in a very extremely competitive location, it may behoove you to do this alongside free booking links program, just to try to acquire as many reservations as possible, specifically direct reservations as possible. Now, how this differs from the previous program, which was that free booking links, is that this is a paid advertising program. So you do have to set up a separate budget in order for you to get this additional placement here in the ads section within Google Hotel Ads. So if you look at the previous example, here's the all options, free booking links, real estate. With Google Hotel Ads, you get bumped up to that top section, but also continue to receive visibility under that all options. So this is just giving you an additional opportunity to be higher and offer that same rate and availability information to those potential guests. And so by establishing that paid budget, you get to attract more potential guests looking for properties in your area and getting more of those direct bookings at a low cost. Similar to Google Ads, the property establishes the bid. So how much are they willing to pay for that Google user to click on the ad? And then once they click on that ad, that visit site, then that potential guest gets dropped into that property's booking engine. So similar to free booking links, your rate and availability information is able to display, given kind of those travel dates and the search criteria that that potential guest has entered in. If you have that available, your property will display under that all options section. And then once they click on that visit site, they'll get dropped into the booking engine. So same information in terms of rate and availability, same experience in terms of what happens when they click that visit site button. It's more or less just coming down to you paying a little bit more for some additional visibility from being kind of towards the bottom of the page to the very top of the page. All right, so in order to launch a Google Hotel Ads campaign, you do need to have that integration in place for Google Hotels. So very similar to Google Hotel free booking links, you need this before you can have that. So you need free booking links integration first and foremost before you can leverage the Google Hotel Ads program. So if you are a RezStream Cloud PMS professional user, you're already getting the free booking links for free as a part of that subscription. And then you have the ability to take advantage of Google Hotel Ads if you like. You just need to make sure that you have that free booking links integration in place first before you can actually go off and set up that campaign and get that live for Google Hotel Ads. All right. So those are all of the main Google products that we wanted to share today. So just to kind of move on to the recap major takeaways before we go into Q&A, you want to make sure first and foremost, every single one of you that is attending today's webinar, you're creating and you're frequently optimizing your free Google My Business listing. You want to partner up with a PMS provider who offers the Google Hotel free booking links program. That is becoming so important these days. You know, we can see that already with a number of our accounts. It's a great way for you to be able to acquire those direct bookings and having to rely less on those OTA providers. It's much more affordable because they're free reservations once you have that integration in place, which is excellent. And then from there, you know, if you need to increase your online presence even more, if you want to capture more guests, you want to enhance your online search presence, investing in the Google Hotel Ads and Google Ads is definitely something you want to consider doing and trying to get more information on to launch those campaigns. And then just the final thing here is RezStream can assist you guys with any of this. So launching, managing more, whatever it is, these are all things that we have experience doing and we're here as a resource to help you out. So you just let us know what it is that you're looking for and we'll walk you through that process. Okay, so before we kind of conclude, I wanted to spend some time seeing what questions you guys had. So let me browse through here and see. Okay, so there's a question. Is there a difference between Google Hotel Ads and Google Ads? So the first part of that question is yes, that is. It's very different. So let me, just for the sake, y'all should be able to see this. These are Google Ads. Okay, they're in Google. They're at the very top of the search results, and they have this little ad symbol right next to them. All right. Let's see here. Google Hotel Ads is this right here. The ability for you to show up as a booking option for those guests in this ad section within this Google Hotels platform. How this is different from Google Ads is that this is ad copy that you're able to create and you're able to determine what terms that you want to bid on in order for you to show up here. Google Hotel Ads is really just being able to leverage the ability to showcase your availability and rate information for people to book from. So slightly different in terms of some of the different features that the Google Ads is able to show from the Google Hotel Ads. And so I hope that is clear. Where we would typically start is if you don't have any of these things in place, the number one thing that you want to get going on is Google My Business. From there, the natural step would be to take advantage of the Google Hotel free booking links program. You'll be able to start to see how that's working out for your property, what reservations you're able to receive, how much traffic that's referring to your website, assuming you have Google Analytics set up in place. And then assuming that's working out really well, that's where you want to look at investing in some paid advertising. And so the benefit there is Google Ads is a great way for you to target new customers and specifically get more presence in Google search, whereas Google Hotel Ads is really targeting people that have already kind of made the decision that they want to book. How can you give them more information so that they feel comfortable booking with you as soon as possible, and being able to acquire that direct reservation instead of encouraging them to go elsewhere like an OTA. So the second part of that question was, is it redundant to do both or a best practice? I'm a firm believer if Google's giving you an opportunity to have more real estate, have more opportunity to grab visitors, to bring them to your website, to acquire more direct reservations, you should always entertain that. And so, yes, I would say, when possible, in an ideal scenario, you should absolutely be doing all of those things. If you don't have the budget to do all of those things, then, I think maybe the Google Hotel Ads is going to be the more affordable option compared to Google Ads, but nonetheless, they both are extremely powerful platforms for you to be able to use when you're wanting to invest in your direct booking strategy. And again, trying to encourage people to go there first over an OTA. Okay, so then the next question that I see here is, who specifically do we contact in Redstream to set up the free links in Google? So if you're unsure of what plan that you already have, you can certainly send an email to sales@rezstream.com and we can kind of take a look at that to see if that's a subscription that you have in place. If you already have a pro plan and you are just more or less curious about, hey, is this something that's live? Am I taking advantage of this? Because we went ahead and made that change for all of our customers on that pro plan. You can reach out to support@rezstream.com and they can more or less point you in the right direction of the reports that you can look at and just validating if in fact you are getting visibility there. So yeah, Patty, it sounds like you would want to reach out to support@rezstream.com just to confirm that you have that free booking links set up. And from there, they can also share with you how you can view reports within that PMS to show how many reservations and revenue you've been able to acquire through that program. Okay. Let me see here. We do not allow same-day reservations. Does that rule stay in place with Google free bookings? Yes. So just something for you guys to be made aware of. That integration for Google Hotels free booking links essentially is just the technology where Google can pull all of the availability and rate information from your PMS. You're not having to set up anything different, manage that separately, nothing. So whatever you have set up on the PMS, specifically in your booking engine, that's exactly what you're allowing Google to show to those potential guests when they're browsing, what availability you might have, and just getting a feel for what rate information. The one thing that I will make you aware of is that Google does not allow us to showcase, you know, AAA rate information. We kind of have to show your default online rate through that connection. So just something to be aware of. There is, you know, Google has kind of their own rules that we have to abide by, but that is just something that I wanted to share, since it also is something that I recently found out. Okay. What is PMS that you were talking about? Sorry, John. So PMS to me is property management system. That is your main tool that you're using most likely to manage the day-to-day operations of your business. So acquiring reservations, you know, welcoming guests, checking guests in, checking guests out, running reports. That's your software. That's your property management system. So that's what I refer to as a PMS. And the one that I'm talking about for the most part is rezStreams, just because that's the one I'm most familiar with. But PMS is a standard kind of industry term. Let's see here. Kevin wants to know what steps are necessary to sign up for Google Hotel free booking links. So yeah, that again, if you're interested, not sure off the top of my head if Kevin, if you're an existing customer of ours, but the first place I would start is just sending an email to sales@rezstream.com, and they can kind of better understand where you're at and kind of walk you through what those next steps would look like in order for you to leverage that. If you're interested in the ads too, the first step would be making sure that you have the free booking links in place so they can kind of talk options and set up steps and all that good stuff with you. So just send a quick email to sales@rezstream after today's webinar, and our team can help you out with that. I have a listing, Stephen asked, I have a listing on Google Hotel free booking links. Does that mean I already have a Google My Business listing? Yes. You cannot get exposure in Google Hotel free booking links without having a Google My Business listing. It is one of the steps that we do on our side on the back end when somebody wants to be added to Google Hotel free booking links program. That property needs to have a Google My Business listing. Without it, it's not possible. So if we come across issues with that, we'll reach out to the property to let them know, hey, this unfortunately cannot happen until you get this piece in place. So again, that's why I think it's super important for you all just to make sure that you have access to your Google My Business listing, that you're going in and kind of familiarizing yourself with what that looks like, what are options available to offer information. So yes, short answer is yes, Stephen, you absolutely have a Google My Business listing because you're taking advantage of that free booking links integration. Anne says, I didn't understand or catch the cost per click on the Google free hotel booking links. So yes, so it's free because you're not paying to get visibility, and you're not paying every time somebody gets referred to your booking engine. The cost, where cost kind of does come into play, is making sure that you're paying your PMS provider for that integration piece. So Google is not charging you for any sort of exposure that they're giving you in that section. They're not charging you for any clicks referred to the booking engine, but you do need to make sure that you're partnered up with a PMS provider that has that integration where maybe there's some additional costs involved depending on kind of your own situation. So yes, that is kind of the general cost involved, is making sure that that PMS provider has that integration, and if they're charging anything additional for that integration. Other than that, once you have that integration in place, your availability and rate information will begin showing. Google's happy to assist you with that, and then you just get whatever reservations come from that exposure. Daniel asks, what is the standard benchmark for percentage of direct bookings versus OTAs? So that is a very hard question to just kind of give a straight answer on. I would definitely say that the goal of ours, anytime that a business is wanting to partner up with us for digital marketing services, it's absolutely 50% or more. Typically, if you're under 50%, that means that there's maybe some opportunities to kind of better manage that OTA partnerships that you may have in play. or maybe there is a lack of marketing being invested in that property's own brand exposure, which explains why you're having to rely so heavily on the OTAs. So if you guys are curious about kind of what your own breakdown is, you can use the PMS's sales by channel report. You can pull it for, the last 12 months, and you can add up, all those revenue figures between direct and OTAs and give you that percentage breakdown. But I would say anything under 50% is probably a little bit of a red flag, and you may want to reevaluate, again, how you're managing those OTAs, or what specifically you're doing or not doing to better promote your own brand to encourage as many direct reservations as possible. Is the Google free booking link available with Redstream Cloud? Yes, absolutely. So Jane, you need to have that Redstream Cloud PMS professional subscription plan. So there's different bells and whistles that come with a couple of our different Cloud PMS programs. You want to make sure that you have that professional. So Jane, if you're not sure which one you're on, reach out to sales@rezstream.com with your property information, and then we can easily look that up and quote you if that's something that you're interested in giving a test on. And let me see here. How do I know if I'm on the Google free hotel booking? I have a Google My Business, and I do show up when people look for cabins in my city, but not sure if that is. So again, the Google hotel free booking links, you'll know if you're showing up if you are able to show your rate information and availability here. So again, if I go back, if you're showing here based on rate and availability that you're offering, then you have Google free booking links. If you're not showing up here for availability that that you have, and chances are you're probably not taking advantage of the Google hotel free booking links program. So basically, if you have a Google My Business listing, all of this will show except for your own property rate and availability information under this all options section. So I hope that's clear. Could you show us what the search result of a Google hotel free booking links looks like? Yes, so that's what this is right here. So, and just to kind of share with you, if somebody wants more information, this is the free booking links. So this entire section under this all options is free booking links. This under the ads section is Google Hotel ads. So I hope that's clear. Where and when can I obtain a copy of today's presentation, including audio? Yeah, so Bob will send this after today's webinar wraps up, and we'll also have it available on our website. Does Redstream charge for integration? We bake that into the Redstream Professional subscription. And Daniel Meyer, congratulations on 90% direct bookings. That's fantastic. Love that. All right. Is RezStream the same as ResNexus? No, that's a different company. But ResNexus also provides a PMS, so I could understand why that may be confusing. But RezStream is its own company, but there is some overlap in products and services that we provide, as well as ResNexus. Okay, I think I got through all those questions. Feel like I've just been talking a whole bunch. So hopefully the talking has led to you guys feeling like you've gotten a better understanding of some of the Google products that are available to be able to help you acquire more direct reservations. Maybe you got a better understanding of some opportunities where you can maybe do a better job of acquiring more direct reservations. Maybe you're considering partnering up with OTAs as a tool, because it is one of those necessary evils. So if that is something, hopefully some of those OTA tips and tricks of just things to kind of be made aware of before entering in that partnership has helped out with some of your negotiating. So with that, I am going to go ahead and wrap up today's webinar. Let's see here. So yeah, so just a couple reminders. We always like to educate. So, you know, if you found today's webinar helpful, look forward to having that webinar recording and presentation kind of posted under our education section, which you can see here is rezstream.com/education. There you'll find past webinar recordings, blog posts, and any resource guides that we've created. And then the final piece here is, again, I want to thank you all for attending today's webinar. My name is Liz Brownigan, and if you do have any questions on anything that was covered, when all else fails, just send a quick email to sales@rezstream.com. We'll point you in the right direction, or you can give us a call. And we will be putting together another webinar here over the next few months. So make a point to check out those and sign up if you haven't already. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day and week. And thanks so much. And we'll go ahead and call it. Bye.